On this episode of From the Cheap Seats, I tell you how that one scene in The Matrix and the game we just watched against the Jets have a lot in common. And no, it is not the scene where Morpheus says that Neo is the one. It's definitely not that scene. Welcome to From the Cheap Seats. Man, this guy did it again. Welcome, glad to have you back. I'm Bonafide, and this is From the Cheap Seats, the show where we preview and recap all of the action from the Tennessee Titans season. Every week, we're going to be previewing and recapping every game. So let's trip over our linemen and fumble the ball away and get right into this recap. Before we get into the recap, I just want to thank everyone that came and joined the live stream that we had on Sunday. I had a complete blast watching the game with everybody, giving my reactions. We had the highs and the lows, but unfortunately we couldn't pull it out. But I should have done this last year because this was a complete blast. I enjoyed every minute of it. So this is going to be an every week thing for us here at Section 240. So don't, unless I go to the game, like I mentioned on the earlier, if I go to the game, I'm still trying to figure out if I can live stream from there. Obviously, can't live stream from the stadium, but right, maybe before and after, giving me some raw reaction. But we'll work on that. But if you missed the recap or you missed the thing, you can catch the recap. It's listed up on the channel. But we're gonna be doing this every Sunday. So join us as we go live from the section, man. All right. So let's jump right into this recap. So I mentioned how The Matrix is one of my all-time favorite movies, but there's a scene in it where Neo experiences deja vu.
Déjà vu.
Yeah, that was basically us this last game. We started off well. We moved ball down the field, really got us a score on the end of the round. Defense is doing their job, making it hard for Aaron Rodgers to kind of get into a rhythm. They're playing great defense. We get the ball back, move down the field. Now we're moving down the field. Nice passes, nice runs, a well-balanced offense. We get into the red zone. And then this happened.
In there, 3rd and goal. Levis looking. Levis tripped. He tried to shovel it. That ball is free, and the Jets have it.
Yeah, it's deja vu. Yeah. Instead of taking the sack, like we talked about last week, and living with putting 3 points on the board, so we go up 10-0 instead of being 7-0. He does that. He tries to flip it back to Tajay, who isn't even ready for the ball to come out. And that adds to his NFL-leading 5 freaking turnovers. Now he threw a pick on the next drive. We'll talk about that in a minute. So instead of being up 10-0, we're handing the ball over. Now we forced the defense. We forced Aaron Rodgers into a 3 and out, and it was a great play by Landry. He gets the sack, and the defense gets us the ball back. So hey, no harm, no foul. You're still idiotic, but we still looking well. And then this happens.
Get it back at the 25. Fake the handoff. Levis. Deep shot on the way. Contested ball. Treylon Burks.
Because of that interception, that leads to Rodgers getting a touchdown pass that ties the game up. Now, we move the ball down the field, and we get, and it was in part to an amazing catch by Tony Pollard. In double coverage. That's going to be a recurring theme in this video. And we get 3 to lead to go into halftime. We're up 10-7. The Jets score on their first drive coming out of halftime. And then we have another 3 and out. And there was a missed pass by Ridley. It feels like he could have caught it, but it hit his fingers and dropped through it. And here it is. We are doing something stupid again because this happens.
3rd of the day, a long of 63. And it's blocked.
Yes, Chestnut whiffs on the protection. I think the right tackle does too. And we have back-to-back games with a blocked punt. And that leads to a short field for the Jets, and they get a tackle on another 3 points. Now, the next drive moves the ball down the field, and we score on a completely improbable, amazing, all of the accolades type of catch by Calvin Ridley. I don't even know how that ball got into that space, but it did. So sometimes it bounces your way, and on that one, it definitely bounced our way. So we scored that. Again, it was in the double coverage. Get what I mean? Deja vu. But then the Jets come right back and they score a touchdown with Braden Allen. And then the comeback comes short because Levis does his best, but it's not good enough. And we lose 24-17. Deja vu. So we're 0-2 now, and that doesn't bode well for any team. The history about teams starting 0-2 is not a good look for anybody. And to top it all off, when it comes on the injury side, we lost Tajay to an ankle injury, and we don't really know what's happening in that. I heard some of the pressers today, but I didn't see or know. So we'll have to wait till the injury report comes out later on this week. So yeah, that's the game recap. So let's move on to our players of the game. So for offense, it's got to be Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley showed us exactly why we paid him so much money. It's for his speed and his playmaking ability. He scored our only touchdowns of the game. On the end around, he scored a touchdown, and that amazing catch that I just talked about a few minutes ago. He missed another deep shot, but I'm not going to crucify him for that because he did a good job overall. Yeah, would I have loved to have that pass? Absolutely, but it is what it is. The ball didn't bounce our way that way. So he finished with like 4 receptions, 87 yards, 77 receiving, and 10 on the ground, and those 2 touchdowns. So he's our offensive player of the game. Now on defense, it's going to be Harold Landry III. Harold was selected before the game as like the 6th captain because we rotate captain. We got five captains, and then we rotate the 6th one. Last week, I think it was, I forgot who it was last week. I think it was Ridley. But this week, it was Harold. And boy, that must have did something too. Hyped him up because he was ready to play, man. He came, he was looking like the Harold Landry of old, the reason why we paid him so much money. He ended up with 3 total tackles, including the 2 sacks, which were the only sacks that we had on defense. And he had 2 passes defensed. He was really a good big catalyst in that defense that we had that was making it difficult for Aaron Rodgers. So he's for the majority of the game. So he's our defensive player of the game. All right. So we're moving right along. If you're liking the content, you're digging what you see here, go ahead and lock in with us at the section. Hit the subscribe button at the bottom and join the channel so you don't miss a thing. All right. All right, so we're back with Bonafide Thoughts. So these are my thoughts that I was watching while I was watching the game on the live stream and things that I talked about before. The defense is real, all right? As a result, at the end of the day, yesterday, we were the #1 ranked defense in the NFL. Not number 2, not 1 in this category, but #1 overall defense in the NFL. Now, that may change tonight after the Eagles and Falcons game, but for right now, we're the #1 defense. Denard has these guys clicking, man. The only thing that's missing, and Simmons keeps mentioning it in his press conference, the only thing that's missing is that we don't have a turnover yet. Now, I feel like this is going to change over the next week. It could change next week, maybe the week after that. But it's safe to say that is probably going to be the last domino that falls, and then that brings us back together. The ball is going to bounce our way. I don't know why I keep saying that during the video, but it's definitely going to bounce our way. And in spite of that, it's safe to say if the defense keeps this up, I wouldn't be surprised that at the end of the season that Denard Wilson is in some conversations to be a head coach. Now, I hope he sticks around with us so we can get a couple more years out of him. But yeah, it definitely, hey, the sky's the limit for him, especially what he's doing with this defense. All right, Tony Pollard is a good running back. I didn't watch a lot of Cowboys games, so I really didn't know a lot about him. But he is showing that he is an effective runner. And Spears to a certain extent, but more about Tony. He's an effective runner in between the tackles and outside, not in the running, only in the running game, but also in the pass catching game. He had some nice runs where he got behind those pads, he had a little thump, and it kind of threw me for a surprise in there because he had some pop at that, and he made an absolutely amazing catch in between 2 defenders, and he held onto the ball after being hit late. As a defensive receiver. So, Tony Pollard is showing that, obviously, again, this was in conjunction with Ridley, it was a good investment by us here, by Rand and the team here to bring him in here because it's definitely, paying dividends already. The right side of the offensive line is not doing good. and that's putting it nicely. And this is probably, and I know this is contributing to a lot of the issues when it comes to Will Levis and not being able to have time to throw the ball or not being able to get through his reads or whatever. And I'm still gonna put most of that on Levis, but we cannot let the offensive line off the hook, especially the right side. That seems to be the problem side. Now, Skoronski said in the presser earlier today that, you know, they're ahead when it comes to run blocking, but pass protection, which is, you know, more difficult, they're significantly behind. And they're trying to work to catch up to what Bill Callahan is trying to get. So those new techniques. Now, it's a young line, so we're gonna take this. We're not gonna overreact. You know, it's going a young line. We should have expected that it was going to take a while for them to get to where they need to be, to where we can say, hey, consistently, that, you know, the line is way better. Now, it's better than it was before. JC and Skoronski and Kush on the left side show really good promise. I think it was a great improvement on JC and Skoronski's part from week 1 to week 2. But that right side is to make a Cinderella reference, it's the beautiful horse carriage is now turning into a pumpkin right before our eyes, and we gonna really need to do something if we want to see, you know, improvement. But I got faith in Bill, you know, things like that. I know he's able to turn around. Just we need this to click. Treylon Burks is he's just not a good wide receiver, and that's deja vu. If you've been watching the channel, you've heard me say that plenty of times. He has all the physical traits that you are looking for in a big number 1 wide receiver, and you know that's why we were lulled into thinking that, hey, maybe even though we traded AJ away, which was the worst decision in Titans history, maybe he could fill the gap or you know, at least be molded into that thing. But right now, that man out there just running cardio, straight cardio. I mean, how does a 6'3", 225-pound wide receiver get out-muscled by a very small cornerback that he's giving up maybe 4 or 5 inches to? On a jump ball. It's because, like, Burks doesn't use his hands. I don't know. I've never seen a wide receiver attempt to catch everything with his body. I don't know what Tyke is doing out there. And he'll catch some in practice with his hands, but the most time, every time we see him in the game catching a ball, he's catching it with his chest. And that it just doesn't make sense, man. It does not make sense to me. If he uses his hands, he high points that. Maybe he gets knocked out, but he has a better chance of bringing that ball in and that being a big play instead of being an interception. Now, I'm not going to blame all of it on because it was an underthrown ball. I'll talk about that in a second. But still, as a wide receiver, you expect your wide receiver to be the one that comes down with it. We saw too many times that, and we see it all over the league, where wide receivers like, let's say Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, to pour salt in that wound, we see them go up and grab and make contested catches and come down with it. And then we just don't see that from there. And then he out-snapped NWI. And I'm saying this right now to you. There is nothing that Burks is putting on film that makes me believe that he should be out-snapping NWI right now. I'm sorry. There is nothing that he is doing that makes me believe that he is the better option right now at this time. I really feel like it is time to just end this whole experiment or whatever salvage effort we're trying to do with Burks and see what we can get from him. Maybe he works out at another team, but right now he's just out there running cardio and wasting everybody's time. So last thing in my thoughts, hero ball is Will Levis's kryptonite. And I don't understand why he doesn't get it. He even said in his presser that he has to rewire his brain to understand that he doesn't have to do it all on his own. He just literally does. He did the same thing that he did this week is literally what he did last week. And instead of taking a sack, he tries an idiotic move, which leads to a turnover, and we get this awesome gift from Coach Cali because he's fed up with it. And then on the very next drive, see, this is why I said in a tweet that Levis was directly responsible. I didn't say it was all his fault, but he was directly responsible. He's involved with this because on the very next drive, on that interception to Burks, the ball was underthrown and it was thrown into double coverage. And he overlooked, if you go back and look at that play, he overlooked a wide open Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley had beat his man And that would have been a nice 10-yard, 20-yard reception for Calvin Ridley. And then, but you say, oh, okay, maybe he didn't see him. Well, Nick Vannett was open too. And it was a first down. A first down when you had held them to 3 points and you could drive down the field and keep them points off the board. So he leads the entire NFL, not just our conference, not just our division, the entire NFL with 5 turnovers. And they're all because of him. Now, he made some improvements to the game. He had some nice throws. He throws to Boyd, to Pollard, the crosser to Ridley. Really nice throws. So he made some improvements, but I feel like he got lucky on a lot of them. Like, because he kept throwing in the double coverage. The catch that Pollard had to make was amazing, double coverage. The catch that Ridley had to make, double coverage. The interception to Treylon Burks, double coverage. Even the doggone last play, I think, to Boyd, double coverage and short of the line. So, yeah, while he made improvements, it's just like, hey, I have $1 million debt and I paid $10,000 on it. Yeah, well, guess what? You still owe buku bucks. So, yeah, you shorten the deficit, but it's still a whole lot more you can do. And to me, when I was watching the game, halftime was telling. Now, I know Callie said that he trusts Will. He told him that he loved him and all that stuff in the presser, but your actions kind of speak louder than words. And that play calling, and this is just me, my observation, but that play calling at the end of the second half, right before we went into halftime, was telling on what the confidence he had in Will, because in that thing, we had an opportunity to probably go down and try to attack the Jets defense and maybe get a quick field goal to come back up. And we just ran that ball out. No 2-minute drill or nothing like that. But, Callie's saying he's got confidence, and that's what he's supposed to do. But my eyes kind of tell me a little bit different, all right? So we're getting ready to wrap this thing up. Coming up, we got the Green Bay Packers. Now, I don't know if you heard or watched ESPN last night, but the Green Bay Packers beat the Indianapolis Colts with Malik at the helm. And that Malik. Yep, Malik Willis, starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers because Love was injured. And they got the win. And now, don't get me wrong, Packers had a really great running game from Josh Jacobs. The man had like 153 yards on the ground. And Malik didn't do too bad. I think he threw for like 122 and a TD. But he didn't have any sacks and he didn't have any turnovers. And he finished with an 82.4 QBR. Now, Will, on the other hand, had 2 turnovers, and he finished with a 37.9 QBR. Now, Mike LaFleur and them did a great job maybe helping him speed up the game and winning that game, things like that. And the defense did their part. Colts had 3 interceptions, but they're coming to town next. And I'm going to use my military background. We're probably on the brink of a nuclear implosion, like DEFCON 1 levels, right? Like right now, I feel like we're at DEFCON 3. We're 0-2 and lost to the Jets and to the Bears and really kicking ourselves because those are 2 winnable games. And there are plenty of narratives out there, but this is one that sticks in my head. This is, I know I said last video is a must-win game, but this is I have no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is a must-win game. Not just for Will Levis and his supporters and people that are rooting for him to do well, but for the Titans as a whole. Because if we lose to the Malik Willis Green Bay Packers at Nissan Stadium and go 0-3, we're gonna table that for right now. But we definitely don't, make sure you tune into the preview video because we're gonna be talking about that. All right. So make sure you check out the website. Make sure you visit www.section240.com. Check out the merch. Don't forget about the 1K Oilers throwback giveaway. We're so close. Just got to be a subscriber to be entered into the drawing. So make sure you locked in with us by liking, sharing, commenting. Share this to your Titans friends. You got Titans friends that you know, share this video to them. We want to grow the community here. I want to interact with you. Tell me what you want to see here on the channel, and we'll do our best to get it. I did a couple of interviews with other Jets fans, so I'm looking to collaborate with everybody, mainly to boost the profile of the Tennessee Titans, all right? And like I always say, even though I feel like I keep repeating myself and things keep happening, there's plenty of room in the section for us all. Tighten up.